Britain, West Germany and Switzerland released 7 Arab commandos Wednesday, fulfilling their part of the bargain for the safe release of all hostages aboard the 3 airliners hijacked September 6 and 9. The British government set the release operation in motion, freeing Palestinian girl guerrilla Leila Khaled. She was flown in a Royal Air Force Comet to Munich, where 3 more Arab commandos were picked up. The 4 were then thrown in the same plane to Zurich to pick up the last 3 of the commandos. The plane then took off for Cairo. The British government announced the release within hours after the last 6 hostages taken by the guerrilla hijackers had flown out of Jordan to freedom. Prime Minister Edward Heath's office said Britain had arranged with West Germany and Switzerland to have the 7 guerrillas released as soon as necessary arrangements had been made with the United Arab Republic government. Miss Khaled was captured and her companion killed on September 6 during their attempt to hijack an El Al airliner over the English Channel on an Amsterdam to New York flight. The Boeing 707 landed instead at London's Heathrow Airport. Miss Khaled originally focused at 20 feet. This test was focused at 20 feet, then zooming out to 20 feet. Sorry, incorrect. Zooming out to 20. And then, having zoomed fully out, focused at 70. This particular track is being exposed with a sound track exposure of 16.16. The lens diopter has been checked for calibration, and the shot we are now taking is a wide-angle shot. The bus in the foreground is about 55 feet away. The control tower on the top of the building would be in excess of 200 yards. The aperture setting is f16, as indicated. Presently, the lens is on 12 millimeters, and the point of focus is around 30 feet. I will zoom the camera out to look at the control tower and then pull focus as necessary. Meanwhile, Bill Caneen can give a quick description of the morning and anything else that comes to his mind. I think you've had enough of the extracts from Stars and Stripes. This is the rear end of the Free World building. Pardon? This is the rear of the building, the Free World building at 12 Trang Quoc Quan, Saigon. The control tower at the top administers and gives landing instructions to helicopters coming from all directions and serving the 5 nations that are stationed here. The building is dirty white and was once alleged to be the home of the girls of Madame Nodin Zim. Whether it's right or not, I don't know. I'm fast running out of things to say. Sound track exposure is still steady. Battery holding up. No trouble with magazine so far. The wide zoom out to the top of the tower. Track 16 steady. The next sequence will be a wide zoom out to the radio tower at the rear of the Free World building. Correct focus at the end of the shot. Red China subfleet a threat. San Diego, California, AP. A submarine built up by Communist China was described by a U.S. Admiral Tuesday as posing a serious threat to the balance of power in the Pacific. Rear Admiral Walter J. Small, commander of the U.S. Pacific Fleet Submarine Force, said Red China has a 30-sub attack force and is pressing production. Correction. Our fleet attack force numbers 40 craft. Could be number 3 in a couple of years, Small said in an interview. The Soviets have 100 submarines in the Pacific now, and perhaps 3/4 of them are attack types. Attack subs are differentiated from missile-firing Polaris-type subs, shoot torpedoes and go after other vessels, not land targets. No increase in the U.S. submarine strength is planned, Small said. We are building new submarines, of course, but they are programmed to replace a dozen World War II submarines the Pacific Fleet now operates. Small, whose headquarters are in Pearl Harbor, was on a 2-day inspection visit. Stop sea cuts, Chafe warns. Secretary of the Navy, John H. Chafe, warned yesterday against further Navy cutbacks in the face of growing Soviet naval power. Chafe said the Russians had expanded their fleet to a point where they can now challenge long-time U.S. domination of Atlantic sea lanes. Without U.S. naval domination, the Atlantic becomes a high road for aggression against us, a road leading straight to the great population centres of the Western world into our eastern seaboard, which houses a third of our people. Jet range helicopter just taking off, moving off the LZ. Heading across now, turning in to overflow Cholon. Now cutting across back and heading down town Saigon. Shot fouled up. We'll start again. The last shot fouled up because the magazine torque motor does not seem capable of taking up the load inside the magazine after about the 100-foot mark. We will try and service this locally. There is no repair facility for Arri equipment here, but I'll try and strip down the equipment myself in order to make it serviceable, Mac. But there is a definite fault with the Arri mag torque motor. We have had this trouble before, I understand, and we'll try and clean it up. We'll now just simply try and run this full 100 feet through. If I don't keep turning the knob on the Arri mag, it just bunches up inside the camera and causes the loop, of course, to jump and foul up. But we'll just try and keep this turning as I go here. It's very laborious, but it's okay, completely faultless to the 300-foot run mark, only the last 100 fouling up. The last time this occurred with Sergeant Fairley, it fouled up at the 100-foot mark, and that's why you only have a very short reel, which is also coming down with this one. I'll just keep running this through. Bill can keep shooting pictures while I turn with my other hand. There's no doubt about it, the torque motor is sick and just not functioning the way it should at all. Whether it's because of load or what, I don't know. Coming up to the last 25 feet or so now. The torque motor just isn't capable of turning the magazine at all. I'll fix that. Okay, we'll go. Let it roll. It may be worthwhile to bring a spare torque motor with you, Mac.